With Fates coming to the West very, very soon, I figure it should be a good time to squeeze in another plot review. This game though, it's like Sacred Stones is in Fates' cool grandpa. But like all things I love, I feel obligated to try to barbecue it harder than Sigurd. You know how you can like realistically summarize Fire Emblem plots in like 4 sentences or less? Well, you can do that with Gaiden in like 1, so I'm not really sure how well this video is going to turn out, but whatever. This game starts out in, Ariel Gast, put up the Gaiden image.
Fire Emblem Gaiden does not exist in my database, Master Guest.
Ariel Gast, what do you think Gaiden means?
Gaiden means side story, none of which exists between Shadow Dragon and Mystery of the Emblem.
Mystery is what happened after FE1 and Gaiden is the side story, it's FE2.
FE2 takes place after FE1 though.
What?
FE2 happened after FE1. Not during FE1. Gaiden is the sequel, milord. It came afterwards.
Whatever, Ariel Gast, just pull the image.
Fire Emblem Gaiden does not exist in my database, Master Guest.
Ugh, god damn it. You know what? You're done. Get out. Out. Leave. Get the other guy in. Yeah, I don't care. Just put him in. Yep. Thank you. So, this is what happens in Fire Emblem Gaiden. This game takes place in Valencia, a continent far west of Arcania that contains 2 countries, Sofia, aka the good guy country, and Rigel, aka the bad one. The game immediately begins with Alm, the young village boy, finishing up his training with his grandfather, Mycen. After they go on a training break, a Liberation soldier named Luca asks if Grampy Mycen is around to help him. Alm asks if Mycen is DTF with fighting for the Liberation Force, but he is in fact not down. Wouldn't you know it, Mycen orders Alm not to go along. But Alm refuses to sit idly by and watch General Dozer take over Sofia. So he and his villager buddies, Cliff, Gray, and OG Robin, go to the Sofian Liberation headquarters, which ends up being inside a cave with a graveyard. Inside the cave. So does that make it a graveyard or a grave cave? I don't know, but it's here where you fight the dancing tit zombies for the first time. Seriously though, these zombies got really nice racks, I'm just saying. And it kinda makes sense that you're fighting a bunch of undead females anyway, because in Gaiden, if you're a woman and you aren't rescued yet, you're probably definitely dead by now. Anyways, you meet Clive, who is the leader of the Liberation Force, who thanks you for saving his sister, Claire, and wow, these guys are siblings? Huh, I guess being absolutely garbage runs in the family. Anyway, Clive literally asks you to lead an entire army against the Sofian revolutionaries just because you're kind of like Mycen, but not really, so no pressure, right? It's not like Alm was just a normal villager like an hour ago. You also hear of rumors that Milla, the Earth Mother, has disappeared, which is the reason why dancing D-cup zombies are appearing and why the crops are failing. The vaguely numbered Liberation Force reaches Sofia Castle, where they need to defeat Generals Slater and Dozer, the latter being responsible for killing Sofian royalty and eventually taking control of Sofia entirely, and it's pretty much like enemy number 1 for the Liberation Army. Except that this Dozer is not the real Dozer, and the real Dozer has escaped to Rigel, which would be more convincing if they didn't have totally identical stats. Because as it stands now, a battle between Alm and Dozer would be more difficult to watch than a game between the Spurs and the Sixers. Chapter 1 ends with Alm meeting up with Mycen, who, I guess, ninja'd his way to Sofia without telling anyone and encourages Alm to continue fighting the good fight without him. And then Mycen vanishes again. Thanks, Gramps. I'll just fight an entire country by myself then. You know what? Go ahead, bud. Just go ahead and take your limp Johnny Bravo haircut with you. I don't care. In Chapter 2, you take control of Celica, who is on a quest on her own to find out what happened to the goddess Milla. Here you learn that Celica is the adopted princess of Sofia who was sent by Mycen to live with Noma. Afterwards they set sail to Milla's shrine, and our pathetic mortal eyes bear witness to the greatest, most intricately designed and creative maps in the entire series. In fact, they are so good that Gaiden had to remind us of its greatness like 4 fucking times. And these marvels are... boat maps! Side note, you meet Volbo here, a dude with so many colors he could pass for a Four Swords Adventures character. After the Red Terror ruthlessly massacres like 5 literal boatloads of pirates so hard they probably end up being the Sacred Stones' ghost ship crew, single-handedly butt-fucking a Draco zombie until it vanishes, and acquiring the OP as shit Holy Sword, Celica finally reaches Castle Sofia, meets up with Alm, but they sadly get into a bit of a lover's quarrel that went down sorta like this. Alm learns that his child bestie Celica was taken across the country to be safe from Dozer, but she doesn't tell him why she had to leave. And Celica learns that Alm wants to beat the shit out of Rudolph for starting the war, and Alm isn't going to let him take over. Also, Alm wants to locate the Sofian princess, but he doesn't realize that she's standing right in front of him. And then Celica walks out on Alm to continue her journey to Milla's shrine. Chapter 3 begins with Alm hearing grave news that a landslide has separated both Alm and Celica's parties. Which in hindsight probably isn't that big of a deal in the first place, since these rando traders seem to be able to walk over it effortlessly. Maybe they have the boots in this game. On Celica's journey to Milla's shrine, she helps Pala and Katria rescue S from the most badass looking bandit in Fire Emblem history, and head honcho of this arc, Pirate M. Bison. After killing M. Bison, they rescue S and another damsel in distress who serves the temple of Milla. This priestess tells Crimson Flash I that her mother, Leprica, was forced to be wed and died before Celica got to know her. The woman gives Celica the Sofian diadem to prove her royalty to Sofia, and then she promotes. Pro tip, if at this point you haven't promoted Katria and Pala into Falconites yet, stop what you're fucking doing immediately, find some tit zombies and beat the fuck out of them, and then promote them. Because if you find the kill with unpromoted units, you might as well just bend over and ask him not to be so rough when he spams a bunch of gargoyles right into your asshole. After you defeat Mikhail, a priestess tells you that Milla was sealed by Emperor Rudolph of Rigel. Not really sure how a human can steal a literal goddess away, but Milla is pretty much like a medieval hippie, so Rudolph probably just said there was E in it for her and that was enough. After her route is cleared, better Erica needs to wait for Alm to open the floodgate on his side in order for them to progress to Rigel. During Celica's time doing that, Alm is pretty much just rampaging through Sofia like a fucking barbarian. He finds Dozer, kills the guy, finds some random ass shaman, kills him too, and then he gets to the floodgate and opens that. After the floodgates are open, another Gennaro shaman priest Duma worshipper is killed, and the Red Terror learns that Judah, our Gennaro super shaman super priest super Duma worshipper, can only be attacked on turns 4, 8, and 12 and so on. Wow, Gaiden, way to be subtle. She then meets Hark, a former high priest of Duma who tells Celica that Milla is sealed within a sword located beneath the Tower of Duma. Hark also off-screen magics Alm into a class change that can use bows, so take that, Lin. All the while, Alm rescues Tita from Nui Baba, who gets this really weird and jarring and out-of-place opening narration that happens nowhere else in the game, pretty much. I don't even know why he even gets this opening narration. Nui Baba isn't even that cool, he just looks like the Hobgoblin. Then Alm traverses through the Dragon Mountain, but then Judah immediately traps him within it. Judah gives Celica an ultimatum to either sacrifice themselves to Duma, or he'd have Draco zombies kill him. And this point is definitely the most intense part of the story, where the pressure's on Celica to get to Duma's tower immediately, or else Alm is literally fucked. Unless you know there's only 3 battles in it, and you know that you can just box your units into a corner and trivialize the entire map 3 times in a row. So Celica reaches Duma's altar and Judah traps her within it, and her part of chapter 4 ends with Judah saying that he's going to make Celica suffer slowly until she becomes sacrificed to Duma. Kind of like how I have to suffer eternally in the perpetually toxic and polarizing Fire Emblem community until I sacrifice myself to the unfollow button. So jump to Almheart, where he's now hella pissed and ready to go off at Rigel Castle. He blasts through Rigel and finally confronts Rudolph, and the Emperor tells him that his real name is Albine Alm Rudolph. So you know what that means? Congratulations, player, you literally just killed your dad. But don't feel bad. This dude literally abandons his kid, steals a goddess, seals said goddess in the Valentian Falcon, which is also weird as shit, somehow convinces Mycen, who's a Sophian who realistically would probably be against his insane plan, to be in on it, begins to ruin a country's food supply, starts a zombie apocalypse, and ultimately ends up starting a war between Rigel and Sophia, all for the sole purpose of getting a new generation of Valentian heroes to rise from the turmoil that he created so they can go to Rigel themselves and have Alm, his own son, kill him unbeknownst that he is a son. What? Why? Because he literally thinks that Milla and Doma have been making Valentians just a lame country of people. He wants to create a perfect world by ruining this one and not need to account for his misdeeds. The fucking dick! I bet you don't feel bad about killing your dad anymore. After grabbing the Valencian Falchion in some random shitty Alm solo monster rush in Duma's altar, Alm rescues Celica, finally kicks Judah's ugly Mogul dumping butthole and fights Duma, who literally has to be the ugliest and most terribly designed final boss in Fire Emblem history. This mountain of boogers looks like what happens when a poke fusion between Tentacruel and Dragonite go horribly wrong. After Alm final smashes Duma, in a very badass fashion mind you, Duma says what pretty much amounts to, "Wow, you sure fucked me up hard, sorry man," and puts himself to bed along with Milla. So yeah, Alm is pretty much a god killer, if you consider Duma a god that is. Since apparently Intelligent Systems doesn't consider him one or even recognizes that he existed. Yeah, seriously, what is Duma? After slaying Duma and putting both gods to rest, Alm heads back home where he and the Scarlet Witch marry, unite Sophia and Rigel into one big Valencian nation, and combine both aspects of their faith into one super faith. Also, for Naga's sakes, do not kill this human-shaped watermelon or else you will feel like a fucking asshole at the end. Trust me. And then Fire Emblem 3 happens. The end. There, I made fun of my favorite game. Well, I tried at least. It's hard to get funny when the most you have story-wise to work with is so bare bones, it's literally hero saves country, saves princess, slays dragon, and marries the princess that he saved. See, I told you you can summarize Gaiden in a sentence. And I guess I would be worried about this video getting as many downvotes as the Awakening video did, but considering that there's more downvotes on that video than actual people who played Gaiden, I'm not too worried. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment, and please subscribe if you haven't yet. And follow me on Twitter so you guys get the latest know on what I'm doing in my life and what I'm working on next. And with that being said, see ya.